Alright folks, no time for introduction, let's get into it. Our high tier vehicles in 2.0.1, the Yong Bing Tier 9 Premium Chinese heavy tank, a Chinese version of a 703-2 practically, double barrel 122s on a Russian-esque of a hull design, especially for the hull front and the driver hatch, but the cupola is prominent compared to most Russian heavy at high tier, so iconic of stuff like WZ-111s or 112s. So two bulging cupolas for the commander and the loader, but the turret is more like a large T-34 hexagonal turret compared to the Russian silver version at tier 8. That thing's more rounded with a smaller gun. It's twin 100. Also, the rocket boosters are more in line with the BZ-79 than the 9 rocket pack per side. So it's just a gigantic tube for the rocket boosters. But yeah, double shot, prep, and lock time for the gun. So compare this to the Russian silver version at tier 8. We already covered this vehicle, but slightly different. Rounded turret design, changing of the dushka on top, double barrel 100 with the rocket boosters. So having the 9 rocket packs per side in the back end. Also, the turret looks a little bit bigger, right? So on the third road wheel, third-ish, the wheels are different. Side skirts are different. Okay, it's bigger wheels on our version, but fine. So about the same, right? About, but you can call that the Yong Bing 1. This is the Yong Bing 2 in comparison to the 703 version number 2 and version number 1 with the 100mm. There is existence of that vehicle, but firepower wise, not the worst for a 122 double barrel. 440 alpha, about 12 seconds of reload, 3-second prep, 3-second lock. That seems fine compared to most recent, the Dukovov, the Volkodov, the Dukovov. The SDP-58 medium tank has about the same prep time and lock time as with most Russian guns too, so you'll feel kind of close with those guns, but DPM is kind of mediocre compared to the medium tanks with the same kind of caliber, right? 1900 health, 300 turret front, 190mm hull front. Let's see how good this armor is. Upper plate not bad, 190 sloped, so practically about the same as a E100 sloped upper plate, just 10mm less. Turret front is very bouncy, rounded and sloped, 150, 200, including the mantlet. The mantlet is 200, the armor is 300. Shoot the cupola, right? Similar to the 5A, similar to the 112s or 113s. Cupola on top, shoot the cupola. You could jam a shell and shot trap from the rounded mantlet or turret cheeks into the hull roof, which is only 30. You can overmatch with a taller vehicle into the hull roof. It's only 30. So bottom plate, 145. It's workable, right? Respectable, but not greatest. Side armor is 60. Oh god. Oh no. The same as with stuff like the 114, WZ-114, which sucks for a heavy tank, right? Compared to the STI, the IS-4s, the 705s, side armor's crap. So don't side scrape. Yeah, don't really side scrape. But health is also not as chunky as the 114. But then again, the gun might be better, right? Rocket boosters, originally 11.76 horsepower per ton ratio, boosting to 32, and top speed of 50 in rocket mode. You have 10 charges, but only boosting at 4 seconds. That's interesting. So it's more like the DZT-159. You have more frequent use of the rocket boosters, but It doesn't boost as long. That's nice. I mean, it's not as versatile as the BZ79 at tier 11, of course, but a little bit more usable than like 5 charges of 10 seconds or something like that, right? I think that's a little bit more useful, even though you don't boost as long. View range, like a tier 8, kind of crap. And below average radio, but that's still fine. Not a bad vehicle per se, right? Just side armor sucks. Let's compare this to the 114. Just a quick comparison. So Yong Bing compared to a WZ114. This got buffed, but dispersion still kind of meh. Yeah, still kind of garbage for dispersion, but at least they buffed the turret traverse dispersion. This dispersion is a lot better, even though base accuracy is kind of meh. You would rather have better dispersion than actual accuracy, right? You need to swing the gun about, so that's very important. But better DP, a lot better DPM. Not as much health, but a lot better DPM. Less view range. Shell velocity might be a problem, but you carry 40 rounds. This is still better. In my opinion, this vehicle still feels better. Even though side armor is kind of about the same, 60. Yeah, side armor is still kind of crap for both vehicles, but I would prefer to play this thing, especially for dispersion. Dispersion just sucks on the 114. Alright, moving on. Next vehicle is actually kind of weird looking. The SPHT, American Tier 9 Premium Heavy Tank. It looks like a, originally I thought it looks polygonal, like a T3E2 convertible polygonal tank, except heavy. So the cupola design, the mini machine gun thing on top of the turret, very polygonal. Also the engine deck, right? But this thing is more like a medium tank compared to actual heavy. And we already have like what? Like 5 tier 8 or tier 9 premium American heavies already. So TS6, T54 heavy, M103M, the Yo tank. This is the number 5th. Holy crap. Just repopulate tier 9 premiums with American heavy tanks. So 120mm, no special gimmick, none of that sort. No autoloaders, no gun cooling, none of this stuff. DPM is okay, not the worst, not like 2200. Aim time accuracy is not bad. 400 alpha, about standard. 1700 health, which is kind of low for a heavy tank. That is about the same as a autoloader in a sense, like a Sentinel. So there's no special gimmick, but you're playing this thing like a medium tank. 222 for turret front, 152 for hull front. It's like a medium, especially for the upper plate. Yeah, that's a tier 8 heavy tank, tier 7 even, upper plate. Turret front is about 240, but it's flat. And the machine gun mini turret is kind of huge too. It is 222, but you play this thing like an E5, right? Swivel about, throw off the shots, wiggle about. Unless they shoot the side of the cheeks on the turret, but yeah, you don't have that much armor on the turret front. Gold shell or regular shells will jam through at close range as well. 38 for the hull roof, a little bit better. And not as likely of a shock trap, but don't depend on it. Side armor is slope upwards, 76, but jam it between the hulls or between the tracks and you'll likely pin. Yeah, side stripping is not the best. You're playing this thing like a medium tank. You're definitely playing this thing like a medium. Large engine deck as well. And also side stripping will expose the engine deck. Yep, show the engine deck, but it's not as thick into the sides. So the good thing about this vehicle is the horsepower per ton ratio, about 20 and 45 kilometers per hour top speed, but that's the only good thing about it, right? Couple that with the decent enough DPM, but you're getting about the same performance on a Concept 1B, except the Concept 1B has armor. This thing doesn't. So you're trading armor for premium tank status practically. And we already have like 4 other American heavy tanks at tier 9 as premium. So collector's vehicle practically. I think it's more like a collector's vehicle. Yeah, you're not competing with the Concept 1B in terms of performance. So SPHT in comparison, you have better DPM than the Concept 1B, but not as good armor. Yeah, slightly better DPM, better gun performance, not as good traversing or moving for dispersion. So slightly bigger caliber gun, but yeah, well, better terrain resistance. Okay, yeah, not as much health, and definitely not as strong of an armor. Also view range. It is premium tank status. I would like to see a little bit better turret armor, or not even the cupola machine gun mini thing on top. So yeah, that's kind of a eyesore of a weak spot. The LTC2 American Tier 9 light tank. It should be autoloader, but looks more like a Merkava in essence. The turret should be strong, at least on the Russian server. It is a Russian server import of sorts, more or less, but slight difference in the tool loadout and the placement of the stuff. But a pig on top, that's nice. Usually you get the Modus, but you get a pig for this one. Not a bad looking vehicle, but it's more like a medium tank, right? You play this thing more like a medium. It's too chunky. Also, it's not a premium. Never mind. This is next year's token tank for Battle Pass. We're missing another one, but similar to the ERAC 105, practically. That's neat. It's an autoloader. 90mm, 10 round clip. The original Bulldog, practically, but DPM still kind of if. Of course it's an autoloader. So penetration is alright, but you have 10 rounds. So 2,000 potential damage in one clip. It takes 44 seconds to reload. So similar to the recent Project Luis, except you have even more shells in the clip for a longer reload, right? That thing is like a AMX 1357 at tier 9. So next year's token tank is not bad if this is a token tank, right? Normally you expect something like the ERAC 105, which is mediocre to below average at best. So yeah, firepower is scary if you're chewing through a tier 7, but 2 seconds between each shell, it still take you like 18 seconds to burst somebody down. But if you're just circle strafing, yeah, they're losing health rapidly. So the longer this vehicle survives, the deadlier it becomes, right? It's an assassin vehicle. Camo sucks for a light tank. It's not great. At least you keep the camo while moving, but it's not good camo. It's like even worse than the T49, if I remember correctly. Yeah, at least it has decent horsepower per ton ratio and top speed. No armor whatsoever compared to the Russian server. Russian server has like 150 sloped turret front. This thing has no armor. Yep, no armor. At least against some high explosive. For the turret maybe, not for the hull. So definitely not as troll of an armor design compared to the Russian server. Not even close. Russian server have about 150 to 170 for the turret front, sloped. ATAC2, 160 for the turret front. It's a single it's also autoloader, never mind, but it's 5 rounds. Not 10 rounds. It is faster between each shot, but DPM is about the same. Not as good accuracy or aim time. Yeah, not as good accuracy or aim time. DPM is about the same. Just 5 round the clip. More alpha per shot. But, would you like to have 5 more rounds at the cost of actual alpha? So turret front is more troll on this vehicle. 140. Not including the cupola and other stuff. But hull front is about the same. Hull front is garbage. It does have a splashboard space armor. That's interesting. funny enough. It doesn't do much, but there's a 15mm splashboard space armor on the hull front. We don't have it. Oh crap. Alright. The turret also looks a little bit bulkier with the cupola design, right? Yeah, the cupola is bigger than our version. Yeah, our cupola is smaller, but it doesn't matter because the turret front is not as strong. Okay. We have more health. We have better horsepower per ton ratio. Yep. And the same top speed. Still the same garbage camo, but they have better view range. Alright. Yeah, it's our version of an AT-AC2, just not a premium. It's likely for Battle Pass, which is not bad, right? Compared to the ER-AC105, I would rather play with this thing, with the fun, gimmicky 10-round 90mm autoloader thing, than the ER-AC105, right? So, not half bad. It's a medium tank. It's not a light tank. Look at the size of this thing. It's like almost the same size as the Merkava, just not enough armor. So yeah, you're playing this thing like a medium tank. It's nice that we're getting Russian server imports, but they're still slightly different, right? Not the same vehicle, even though the shape of it looks about the same. The Serpente compared to the FV225. It's a double barrel 120 on a medium tank chassis and a unmanned turret too. 3 crew members all in the hull, and that's a big help. There's a lot of double barrels, right? Like a quarter of all the vehicles are double barrels. Black Prince 2, the Yong Bing, the crossbow, they call it the Collector. There's a lot of double barrels, but yeah, this one also seems pretty good from initial super test stats, but the gun looks big, like way too big for its britches. Premium tank, makes more credits and bonds. Double barrel. 2-second prep. Is there a lock time? 2-second lock, 2-second prep. It's actually faster to prep than the recent Volkodov, the SDP-58. So that thing is 3 seconds to prep. You can actually squeeze out the shots a little bit faster. And it's more alpha too, 420 compared to 390. It does take longer to reload, but not as good DPM compared to the 2400, 2500 or so on the Czech version, but you give what you can get. 19 horsepower per ton ratio, 55 kilometers per hour top speed. That's not bad. Accuracy aim time is fine for such a big caliber for a medium tank, right? Especially 2 of it on a medium tank chassis. DPM is okay for a double gun, but not the craziest. Yeah, not like the SDP-58. I'm gonna use that as a reference point. But yeah, let's see the actual armor. 1600 health, even less health. So not exactly a combat medium tank. No armor whatsoever. 150 for the turret front. So no armor against most AP, but decent enough against high explosive. That's not saying much. It is a small-ish of a medium tank chassis, right? And you do have 10 degrees gun depression too, so this thing will surprise you. It does have 19 horsepower per ton and 55, so if you like the Volkodov, you'll probably like this vehicle too. I mean, we don't really have that many double barrel medium tanks when I think about it. Yeah, we don't. Rest of the combat medium tanks are usually 1 barrel, like the DZT, right? Or any of the Russian based. It's also auto reloader on stuff like the 590. So the second double barrel medium tank at tier 9, that's also pretty decent. Oh, that's crazy. Camo could be better, view range could be better, radio could be better, but all workable, but it's all about the gun. So does it get the same treatment as the Volkodov, where it gets better dispersion in the double shot mode, the Serpente, compared to the SDT-58? No! It doesn't get dispersion buff compared to the Volkodov, but it gets better aim time and accuracy. So unlike the Volkodov, which is like a half of a SFAC 105. In the double shot mode, you get practically almost no dispersion, right, while moving the gun about, but not the accuracy part. This vehicle is the opposite. You get the accuracy part and the aim time part, but not the dispersion. You really need a vertical stabilizer on this thing. So it's like half of the SFAC 105. That's funny. But it's a faster prepping time, right? Where's the SFAC 105? It's a faster prep. 2 seconds compared to 3 seconds on both the French and the Czech tank to shore, right? You get a accuracy buff. A lot of accuracy buff in the double shot mode. So that's interesting. Yeah, that is interesting. It's not as crazy of an accuracy buff, but it's still there. This is a good vehicle too. If you like the Volkadov, if you already gotten one from the Waffentrigger stuff, you'll probably like this thing. This thing has more punch. So you don't have to expose yourself as often, but not as much armor compared to the Czech. That's nice. Alright. Oh, big boys! WZ64C from the Super Test. The Hoverfly. They buffed it. Polish Tier 10. Gun, or it's not cooling. The gun star-shaped barrel damage drop-off mechanic for a heavy tank. Sloped turret front, similar to a E100 chassis, but they buffed it from the original stats. Original stats kind of sucked. They buffed it dramatically, so it should be a lot better now. Should be, but we're not lacking tier 10s. So for our assembly shop, we're still ready to go, right? They just have to do a 3D style, and there you go. Assembly shop is already prepped. So, star-shaped barrel, damage drop-off, similar to the Polish tank destroyers. It prefers close-range combat, of course, but 175mm outer diameter, 85 for inner diameter, so you cannot easily overmatch the S tanks. So, if you have been playing the Polish tank destroyers, you will find your regular AP shell does not overmatch S tanks, even though the outer diameter of the shell or the gun barrel is actually pretty huge. The actual shell diameter is pretty garbage. Cannot easily 3 shell rule or 3 caliber rule and overmatch the actual S tanks. But it is close range. DPM is crazy for a heavy, by the way, about 3,000, and you can put a rammer on this thing. So very much a close range heavy tank. Is it better than the 60 TP? They buffed the DPM dramatically. I think the original DPM was like 2,300, 2,200. I think they buffed the DPM like crazy. So 7 degrees of gun depression, accuracy, aim time. It's a big caliber gun technically, so give or take, but let's see how good the actual armor is. 230 pike hull front. That's good. It's not as well sloped as an IS-7, but it's a lot thicker. So super gold shell will go through, but still you need gold shell to pin the actual upper plate. Bottom plate, fine. 210 or so. 35 for the hull roof. No shot trap from the slope turret. That's good. Cupola is still the main weak spot at 60. It is still kind of prominent, but unless you wiggle about to throw off the shots. Alright, or haul down. Haul down will kind of hide the cupola. Turret front is like a E100 upper plate, 200 slope at 45 or so. Yep, so pretty thick turret front based on sloping, but Yak Panzer E100 gold shell will go through. Russian high explosive anti-tank will go through. Most medium tanks and some of the heavy tanks have high explosive anti-tank for the Russian guns, but yeah, close range. Don't expose the behind the mantlet armor though, that's only 100. Side armor is only 80. Yeah, don't side scrape. Don't side scrape. Just point the front towards the enemy and haul down. Don't side scrape. Side scraping is not reliable as the upper plate. Yeah, definitely not as reliable. Something like this, right? I mean, compare this to the 60 TP. That is pretty good, especially the Alpha. Health could be better. It's a breakthrough, not an assault. 60 TP is also breakthrough, if I remember correctly, but has a little bit more health. Horsepower per turn ratio and top speed is not bad. View range, kind of crap. Yeah, let's compare this to the 60 TP. Close all the freaking tabs. They buffed it dramatically, no question. From the super test. Super test version sucked, like 4 out of 10 or something. 60 TP, dramatically better DPM, no question, right? Dramatically, but obviously at a distance you don't have that much DPM. You are close range. About the same dispersion other than the turret. This thing has better horsepower per turn ratio and slightly better top speed with better terrain resistance. It's a smaller caliber gun, so cannot overmatch stuff, but shell velocity is quick. Very quick. Not as good view range. And definitely not as much health. Not bad. They dramatically buffed the DPM from what I can remember. Original DPM is about the same as the 60 TP, so you might as well play with the 60 TP, but they dramatically buffed the DPM. Now it's scary, right? Put a rammer on this thing. It's basically at about 15 seconds reload. It's not as crazy as a NC70 in terms of DPM, but it's getting there, right? NC70 is like 4,000 DPM with a rammer. So it's getting there, but this thing has a turret. NC70 has 5 degrees per side of gun traverse arc, which sucks. So yeah, 5 degrees per side. It's fully traversable turret is a godsend in terms of flexibility, right? Of shifting your entire body around. It's a lot better now. No question. This vehicle is a lot better now. Dramatically better. Dramatically. Alright. Assembly shop, maybe. Maybe. Though, if it's going for Clan Wars, they're going to nerf it. Like with the 116 F2 or F3. So, unfortunate. The Collector. Our version of a crossbow, except bigger gun. Crossbow is like 105 compared to our 120. But it's very bulky, right? It's also very Warhammery of a tank design when you think about it. It's just a box with double guns, right? But it's very aesthetically pleasing. If you want a box of a tank, this is what you would imagine if you play like Command and Conquer. And a heavy tank or tank unit is practically what this thing would look like. But yeah, the only downside to this vehicle is the gun depression, from what I remember. Like 6 degrees the gun depression compared to usually 10 on British vehicles. But 110 compared to like 105 on the Russian server. The crossbow. I cannot even preview the crossbow? Oh no. Why can I not preview the crossbow? Is it still glitched? I think it might be still glitched. Oh. Well. I cannot preview the crossbow. I'll use tank.gg, I guess. Woof. It did not get updated on tank.gg, but crossbow is at tier 8. Somehow the model is missing. Or at least my mods don't work. Oh, unfortunate. FV225 crossbow. Visual. Yeah, about the same thing. This thing is a 105. So visually it's about the same. Large searchlights. Large searchlights. Just the gun is different. Mostly. Mostly. Yeah, 105 L7 compared to 110. Alright. High DPM. Downside is 6 degrees gun depression. It's similar to the can opener, switching into salvo mode, but the reload time is quick, more or less for 350 alpha, so high DPM. But the downside to this thing is obviously the gun depression. It's also 6 on the Russian server for the crossbow. That's unfortunate. So you really cannot really hide the cupola. Can you though? It's still good. We have better armor, of course, but let's see. Collision. Is it the same armor? The gun's fine, right? Other than the gun depression, but it's more like a medium tank of a gun performance in terms of caliber size. But let's see the actual armor. 250 turret front, 200 for the side of the cheeks. Yeah, it's better than the 150. Yeah, it's better. Even though the sloping does help, it's still better. Mantlet is 250 plus 200, so cupola, a sliver, an even smaller sliver than the can opener, which is good. But there are strips of 40-ish armor on top of the mantlet. 30. Ooh. For the driver hatch, 40. So, unfortunate shot trap from the bottom of the mantlet into the driver hatch. Possibly, but not reliable. Upper plate is 165. That's not bad sloped. 152 at a better sloping. There's hatch weak spots for the vents. Is that vents? Like these two nubbins or nipples. That's only 40, as well as the driver hatch. So sometimes you get unlucky shot trap, but it's very unlikely. Always go hull down. Other than exposing like the driver bulge, right? Could eat a gold shell into the driver hatch, and that would suck. Bottom plate not bad. I mean, hull down always. Side scraping, 10mm side skirts covering 3 inches of side armor with 20mm tracks. Side armor's fine. But 2200 health, could use a little bit more. It's still considered as breakthrough, but yeah, the driver bulge might be the main problem. It's the same on the tier 8 version. That's funny. Oh my word. Oh, the actual upper plate is better, but the driver bulge is about the same. Yeah, driver bulge is the main weak spot. So gold shell will likely, or normal shell will likely go through the driver bulge or the bottom plate. But yeah, you want to side scrape. It's not bad for side scraping. Oh no, it's 25mm for the space armor on the hull sides compared to like 10. Yeah, the Russian server has better side armor, side skirts. Or it's at least 12. 12.7. With 25mm tracks. Yeah, the tracks are thicker. The space armor is also slightly thicker, so better side scraping on the tier 8. Funny enough. But yeah, this thing is fine. I see it's fine. It's not too crazy. Not like what we saw on the Object 168G for the Russian server. That's a good medium tank. This is a fine heavy. It weighs about 82 tons. It could go ramming with this thing. And obviously you take a hit to mobility in salvo mode in top speed, but fine. Yeah, it's not a bad vehicle. I don't think it's that bad, right? Compare this to the can opener. I think you get better mobility at the cost of the actual firepower. But FV225 Collector, compare this to the can opener, the 230. Better DPM, not as good alpha. Better penetration, not as good accuracy. Better dispersion while turret traversing. And obviously better horsepower per ton ratio. Better top speed. Almost the same health, funny enough. That is surprising. But not as good gun depression. Main downside to this vehicle is the gun depression part. Yeah. View range, the same. Almost weighs the same, funny enough. You can actually go ramming with this vehicle, from what I feel. Yeah, you could actually go ramming if you put a turbocharger on this thing. But just be wary of the gun depression if you already have it. Yeah, if you're going to have it. But yeah, not bad. Not bad. It's fine. Assembly shop. Would you rather play with this thing or the Griffin? Oh, that's a question. And finally, The Ashigaru Lead Farmer. It's basically their concept number 5 for a tank destroyer. It's a gun cooling 105, so better accuracy after you cool, but it takes about 5 seconds to cool the gun after you finish reloading. Now compare this to the recent VZ50, that's a long time, right? It takes about 2 seconds for the Polish tank destroyer to cool the gun, whereas this takes about the same time to reload the gun, to cool the gun. So 7 seconds to reload, additional 5 seconds to cool the gun. The cooling on this thing sucks, right? It takes way too long to cool. How long is the Type 71? I don't remember it's being too long, like 3 seconds or something. So reloads at about 9 seconds. Yeah, 3 seconds longer, slightly, for the gun cooling. So not too crazy, right? 3 seconds out of a 9 seconds reload. Oh, it's only 33%. This thing is like 5 seconds into a 7-second reload. That's more than like 60-ish%. So you really have to calculate when you should cool the gun, but base accuracy is fine. 0.31, that's okay. That's not the worst, right? For a sniping gun, that's not the worst. But then again, you're playing with the average of 390 alpha, so would you rather have the concept number 5's gun alpha at the cost of DPM? It's a very high DPM, by the way. Very high. Actually, what the hell am I talking about? It takes the same time. Its rate of fire is 8. So yeah, 5 seconds out of 7 is crazy. Yeah, your DPM is basically like 2000 if you wait to cool the gun, which is not great. You can work with 0.31 accuracy, right? But if you really want to snipe, like the first shot after starting the match, fine. But I think that's okay, right? If this thing has a gun cooling of like 2 seconds, I think it'd be way too crazy, right? Might be way too crazy. Well, depends. Let's see. No armor whatsoever. Whatsoever. It's totally the antithesis to the Hori playstyle, right? Hori is like pseudo assault gun. This is not it. So not exactly the same playstyle as with the Horis or the Kari, but no armor whatsoever. Don't even think about it. That's not even space armor for the big body in the front. So not even space armor too. Alright. 24 horsepower per ton ratio. Like I said originally, top speed could be better. 7 turning angle. That's slightly better than the concept number 5, but not as good as the EBRs. Let's see. Ashigaru. Compare this to the medium tanks. Concept number 5. So, do they have the wheel turning angle on this thing? No? Oh. Max wheel angle is still 0. Huh. But yeah, top speed is dramatically garbage. Does have 1000 more DPM though. The dispersion is not great. Oh god. You cannot move the vehicle. Also, turret traverse dispersion is also kind of if. Do carry more shells, but not as big of an alpha punch. Debatable. I do have better camo though. Not as good view range. There's so many limitations on this vehicle from what I feel. Like a lot. Let's see the actual turning angle. It's like 6 on the concept number 5. But yeah, the top speed is kind of if. And I mean, I don't know, it's not super crazy in terms of camo. Oh crap. Had to do the actual armor profile. It's 6 turning angle for the concept number 5. So slightly better, but not as good as the EBRs. EBRs are like 30. From what I remember. Clutch braking does not matter on cars, French cars. So you really want better turning angle, but then again, you're comparing an actual car to a tank destroyer. So let's do the EBRs. 33 turning angle. So yeah, you're turning like a brick, but a little bit better of a brick than the constant number 5, even though top speed is not as good, right? Feels kind of balanced, right? Feels kind of balanced. Unfortunately, I mean, could use better view range. Could use a lot better cooling of the gun. It takes way too long to cool. Way too long to cool. It's only 2 seconds on the Czech tank destroyer. It's like 3 seconds on the heavy tanks. It's 5 seconds for you to reload the gun, and then additional 5 seconds to cool. We could just already fire the gun and we're already practically reloaded another shell ready, right? So yeah, Leopard 120, eat your heart out. None of your gimmicky garbage cooling as well. That thing is also, that's basically the same thing, just increments of the cooling for the tier 11 Leopard. Well, there you go, folks. All the high tier vehicles. The best one out of this bunch all feels kinda okay, workable, but too above average. The best vehicle, tier for tier, out of this lineup, I feel, is likely the Serpente. The Serpent. If you know how to play with the gun well, if you know how to assassinate, it's like the Volkov, except you have no more armor at higher alpha and better horsepower per ton ratio, practically. So I feel the Serpente, tier for tier, might be the best in terms of rating. The rest feels average to a slightly above average. The token tank feels kind of funny. 10 round, 90mm, eat your heart out. I mean, it's like the original Bulldog with 10 round, 76, right? I mean, 2000 burst is nothing to laugh at, especially against a freaking tier 7 heavy tank. Imagine using the ATAC2, the LTC2, against a KV3. Oh god, your KV3 is dead in the water, practically. I mean, cannot even traverse as fast, and this thing dumps 2000 damage into your body, right? So you cannot let this vehicle live. Otherwise, it assassinates anything that's surviving, or anything by itself. So, crazy. But, yeah, they really buffed the hoverfly a lot. The Collector and the Ashigaru feels fine. Not too crazy, right? Not too crazy. But also, finally, before we end the video, they actually changed. So, going back, they changed the Bzyg T70 to special tank status. Originally, let's use, that's Lesta. Let's use 1.29.1 before 2.0. It was classified as a premium tier 10 Chinese heavy tank. They changed that into reward tier 10. So technically, we could see this thing, we already covered it, but we could see this thing as assembly shop along with a short wall. So assembly shop for the Bzyg T70, that would be fun, right? So we have a slew of tier 10s coming, 3 of them, not including the recent short wall that debuted on the Chinese server for their tier loot box. So short wall is still there, but now I think they could put the Bzyg T70 into assembly shop for November or October, like early October, right? They could put this thing. We don't have the NDA. I can talk about it. It's all purely speculative, so I'm only guessing out of my ass, but we could see this thing as assembly shop. It's a Doom Turtle with a turret. They changed the high explosive. It's not a high explosive anymore. It's a big caliber gun, but that's fun. It's a Doom Turtle with a turret on top and a 180mm main gun. Not APFSDS, but hey, whatever. So there you go, folks. All the high tier vehicles in our patch. The last video in this 3-video series will cover all the high tiers of the Russian server and stuff like the Stuk bells. What the hell is this thing? So this is coming up, but as always, thank you guys for watching this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.